In the last episode, we started gearing our lovely little paladin, Potato Ham. I kind of hate the name, but I'll change it later. We were also able to start the gearing process. We tackled some keys, and we looted a fat Rashok's heart from the weekly quest. Today, we continue the grind. Upon logging in, Soak's Dab hit me with a fat guild invite. What an interesting guild name. I guess I really can't be too picky since I'm Alliance on a 95% Horde server. I guess it would be nice to have a community, reduced Hearthstone cooldown. We quickly found ourselves in a 5 Brackenhide Hollow. I wanted to get a few more dungeons before the week was over. This key started rough with a near fatal first pull on the tank. Though this group turned it around and quickly blasted through the first boss. We were able to kill Trick Totem before she even spawned her totem. And then look at that super quick dispel. The rest of the run was fairly textbook. We pulled up to Treemouth, skipped around to Gutshot, and then we pulled around up towards Wratheye. Once we got to Wratheye, our tank kept eating the frontal. I'm not sure if people know this, but once the cast starts, it locks position so you can avoid the damage and more importantly, avoid getting stacks of decay. This, at the end of the day, was an easy 3-chested key and a whopping 3 IO. At this rate, we'll be 2,500 next season. I looted a wedding band, which is ironic since I'm the epitome of a virgin, but I digress. These stats are pretty horrendous, but we're going to take this for item level at this point. I used some of my extra flight stones to upgrade some of my gear. This is a slow process, but I'm enjoying it so far. At this point, I wanted to get one more key in, so let's shoot our shot in this Vortex Pinnacle. I know this is a +5, but with a Death Knight tank, I really shouldn't need to heal him or her at all. Most of what I need to do this key is heal the group and dispel what I need to. When keys are this low, it's hard to talk about the run because there's literally nothing going on. We're pretty much just holding W the whole key and we killed trash. Since the healing requirement for most of these things are so low, we just sort of blast through the dungeon. On a serious note, once I get into higher keys, I'll probably go over certain fights and mechanics and how I learned to deal with them, but for now, we're holding W. I will say this though. Not positioning Altreus in the center of the arena makes all the homies sad. After a short 15 minutes, we finished this super clean run and gained 90 IO. Sadly, no loot, but I'm feeling pretty good about this class so far. With it being Monday night, or I guess Tuesday morning at 2:30, it's time to hit the hay and snag a juiced up vault in the morning. You know how the saying goes, a new day always brings new cake to the person. What? Who wrote this? Whatever. It's Tuesday in America, and we have a vault to open. That smooth transition, though. Just a quick recap. Last week, we defeated 4 bosses on LFR, and we did about 9 keys or so our vault will have 4 options. Let's see what we can snag. A one-handed mace from LFR. Probably not. Ooh, but I do see tier pants here. That'll probably be the go-to choice. It's also 421 item level on the champion track, which means that we probably won't replace it by the time the series finishes. We also have a shield that has crit and mastery, or bracers with crit and verse. So, not the greatest items. I think this is going to be an easy choice. With one tier piece out of the way, I guess I need to try to get my 4 set. So, looking for raid it is. We started with Magmarax, and fuck. I forgot to fix my weak auras from last time. I never thought we would actually wipe on this boss. Well, not technically a wipe, but the tank was knocked so far away that the boss reset. I guess I can fix my weak aura. It's not perfect placement, but whatever, I'll fix it later. Neltharion was surprisingly clean. I guess that's the perk of doing this on a Tuesday afternoon versus a Sunday night. I also got a massive win on loot. When Neltharion fell, the tier shoulders dropped. And I got a massive win on this. We snagged the tier shoulders with a pretty bad roll, but that's okay, we take those. These tier shoulders will actually give me my 2-set bonus now. I'll be figuring that out probably after LFR, but we can now move on to the next wing. Assault of Zakali went down pretty easy. Which brings us to Rashok. Rashok went as well as you'd expect it to. But I gotta ask, what are these drops? We got 2 pillars and a Rashok trinket to drop from this. This time around, we stuck it out through Zakarn. I ended up just being a bomb diffuser bot. Easy boss, but no loot. The last wing, and I guess also the first wing, We got into a group that already defeated Kazara. I'm not complaining, to be honest. I mean, a shot at the scale would be nice, but we're really here for tier. Why is clearing trash so hard? Chamber fell over pretty quick. No loot, experiments did the same, and while no tier dropped, we were able to snag this sick shield. Regardless, I now have my 2-set bonus, which increases the healing of my Holy Shock. Nothing massive, but it is a small throughput increase. I still have 2 charges of the Catalyst, so there's a pretty good chance we're actually going to see 4-set this week. This week is also the Time Walking event. Similar to the Mythic Plus Weekly from the last episode, this will reward the player with normal raid loot upon completing 5 Time Walking dungeons. In past seasons, and previous expansions, this quest was typically pretty useless, but in this season with the new upgrade system, normal raid loot is on the champion upgrade track, which goes all the way to 437 item level. I can't really pass this up. What if I told you guys that I looted another Rashok's trinket? No. We ended up pulling a versatility ring from Rashok, still much better than the wedding band that we looted earlier. While it's not perfect stats, I'm fairly content with this ring. Okay, so here's my plan for this week. I want to get IO for all 8 keys. In terms of level, I'm thinking to focus on Drake Crests, which will have me teetering between like 6s and 10s. Let's get a quick warm-up key in, though. Halls of Infusion, here we come. Dude, this guy's name was Mark Buffalo. It's pretty good. I can only imagine that this pull right here is only going to work in a +5 key and nothing higher. Definitely not foreshadowing. I'm not sure how I feel about this key. The first boss is literally just like so bad in terms of design, but I really enjoy some of the middle pulls, plus Cajun. 40k HPS isn't too bad for a little shitter like me. After a short 16 minutes, we completed our first fortified key and a nice little 90 points. And I'll be honest, that key was kind of a joke, so let's try to kick it up a notch. We're going to shoot our shot in this 7 freehold, but first, gotta fix the Mog. Number 1 rule is you gotta look good to be good. I gotta say, this was not a strong start for this freehold. First and foremost, be aware of the Azurite grenade. Death counter begin. Well, 15 deaths later, we were able to finish this run. The major issue in this run specifically was simply group wipes to rat trappers. The tank kept standing in them. Luckily, Freedom can remove the debuff and can be used to clear traps. Unfortunately, I don't think the tank knew that, nor can I spam Freedom. Oh well, can't really complain. 68 points for this run, and of course, no loot per usual. I want to do a quick little upgrade to my pants with my newly crafted Drake Crest. Soon after, we found ourselves beneath the Zul'Jan ruins, facing blood trolls and Gahoon's corruption. Yikes, that was a little too dramatic. We blasted through this 8 Underrot. Definitely one of the easier keys this season, especially when everyone helps out with stepping on ticks. The only death in this place was a little one-shot Slapperino. Sorry, Death Knight, but get good? We finished this queue a few minutes later. I got to walk away with a belt and 128 IO score, though I actually ended up giving the belt to the other Paladin. I found myself outside of Underrot while looking for another key to join, and well. Don't mind if I do. I went easy on him. We were invited to a 9 Brackenhide. We actually waited so long in queue for this dungeon. I really like Brackenhide Hollow. I feel like this dungeon has a pretty good pacing to it, solid pull sizes, and not a complete overload of mechanics outside of the first boss. The timer also feels super free as long as you don't wipe. Also, this Boomkin confidence in this tank is amazing. Also, what would Brackenhide be without out of control social mob pulling? Wait, this Boomkin actually slaps. What an easy first boss. This pull got a little out of control. I'm sorry, Mr. Warrior, but clearly a threat issue here. Don't ever pull this, please. Gotta watch those toes, dude. This dungeon was pretty clean outside of 2 little deaths. Thank God that Boomkin was there. As like a little mental note, I'm gonna really need to start focusing on learning boss timing and like when best to counter them with healing. Holy Paladins with Beacon of Virtue have really strong burst timings roughly every 15 seconds or so, but it does take time to ramp holy power. And that couldn't be more true for Oldemon. I need to make sure that I have healing for the Longboat raid, especially on Tyrannical weeks. Same with the Quaking Totem on Bromok, or the Crushing Stop on Talandris, or even everything on Emperon. This dungeon and its boss encounters are pretty harsh. I have no doubt I'm going to screw these up in the future. After this key, we had some crests and flight zones to use, especially with that sugar daddy Zakarn in my DMs. I decided to upgrade my belt since it has decent stats. Now coasting at 412 item level. Nice. My first double-digit key was a 10 Neltharis. Is it normal for people to go towards Chargath? Oh well. I guess there isn't really a problem going this way. I just prefer using Lust on Magma Tusk nice and early, since Chargath is, kind of a snoozer. The rest of the run is pretty clean, just don't stand in swirls. I love how messy Ret Paladin Divine Toll can be. So we're up here just finishing off this pack, and, well, there you go. There's some hammers flying. A little extra trash never hurt nobody. Dude, this monk loved getting hit by swirls. I can't heal through those. Once Gorik went down, we headed over to face Magma Tusk, and oh boy, was this aggressive. It's super easy to miss this, but these pulls are scary specifically because if the Molten Core cast gets off, this will significantly empower a rock elemental, causing your group to take ramping group damage, like permanently, or at least until the elementals die. And yeah, I'm not good enough to heal through that yet. A very bad paladin I am. We slam dunked that key and hit 1,000 IO score, actually on the dot, which is impressive. All right, that leaves 2 more keys for Fort Week. Let's try to get a Vortex Pinnacle in. I gotta say, I love this dungeon. It's like one of my favorites so far this season. Dude, what is this Altarius positioning? My only complaint, my one gripe, is the count for this dungeon though. You have the option to basically skip one pack of your choosing, but even there, like, you can't skip everything or any pack. On top of that, tanks that aren't used to the count in here might miss something, which leaves you completing the dungeon and then having to rerun through just to find the mobs that you missed. I'll leave that job to the peasants. At least you can jump off the edge and get back to the start. Kind of a genius. The run back really wasn't worth it since it only gave me gold, but that's alright. A little quick GG in chat and I left. It didn't take long to dive into an Eltharian lair. And yo, dude, I got the Yulon cloak. Dude, this shit's sick. I wish I played in MoP. Rockmore is a pretty easy fight. Regardless of key level, the key is to defeat any adds that are alive, and the best way to position yourself for the knockback as a melee is to be nice and close to the center of Rockmore's hitbox as you possibly can. Not too shabby. Dude, this tank is actually like a hard holding W and I'm here for it. As long as people dodge Avalanche. Easy. Dude, I'm a solo grub master. Oh, this is aggressive, and I like it. We finished this key with ease, and we are climbing. With my recently crafted Drake Crest, I wanted to upgrade a few more of my gears. I decided to bump up my shoulders and my belt, putting me at 413. So the next thing, it's a new week still, and I haven't gotten my next spark fragment yet. Since I'm caught up for the most part, the only way that I can actually get a spark is actually through the reputation quest back in Loam. So I headed off. Now, I've been kind of sleeping on the main story quest line so I can bang these out every once in a while for an easy 2500 rep instead of flying around and doing world quests and objectives like a peasant. I don't know why I decided to do this as Holy. I'm just like too stubborn. This arcane mage though, kinda cute. Stop getting distracted. All right, that gave me my 4th spark. That means I can now craft my 4th item. I've been pretty set on crafting a ring. I could always make like something like a shield, but the ring has a slightly higher value at lower item levels due to the socket and ideal stats. And honestly, I have to be realistic, and I know how difficult it's going to be for me to craft multiple 447 items or even a 437 item due to crafting costs, mostly due to Drakathists. Maybe I'll have to find a way to farm some gold, but for the meantime, we're going to craft this ring and continue farming. Now that I have all my keys set up for Fortified Week, I just wanted to push a little further. We got into a Halls of Infusion 12. Something I want to get better at is using my blessings more often. So I'm going to try to start using Hand of Sacrifice like on tanks pretty frequently when they're going into a fresh pull. Oh man, this pull slaps. Jesus. Fuck. It seems like Expulse getting missed is like the worst thing to happen. Lesson learned. I have to admit, this is when healing is starting to get fun. Even on Fortified Weeks, these bosses are doing some gnarly damage, and it's a refreshing little minigame. Instead of praying for my healer to heal me, I'm being prayed to. I have ascended. This mini-boss is super annoying. It takes so long. We killed the last boss as he phased, so we had this like little stroll of victory to go get the loot box. We ended up actually snagging some gloves here, and this is going to be pretty useful. While not the greatest stats, I can actually turn these into tier using the catalyst. I don't think that's what I'm going to do quite yet. While it's tempting, I think it's best if I wait. I don't know how he found me up here, but my little snail buddy gave me a quest for a free crest, and I think I have to take him up on that. That'll at least get me a few more gear upgrades. I was also feeling a little change in outfits. Looking good. And now we're sitting at a juiced up 414.25 item level. I'm still not super thrilled with my +7 freehold, so let's try to get this score up a little bit. And wait. Can we take a second to just appreciate this warrior's transmog? Dude, this guy's got Riz. There are a few good things that paladins can actually do in this key with freedom. I mentioned this earlier in the video, but you can actually clear these traps, which is super nice for some of these pulls. We can also use freedom to clear those pesky blackout barrels during the Council of Captain boss fight. I definitely recommend utilizing this if you're playing the paladin class, whether you're playing Holy Red or Protection. This is one of the scariest pulls in here, but as long as you don't stand in swirls, it'll be fine. You didn't see that. I want to make sure that I'm dispelling the oiled blade whenever I can. Warriors can spell reflect this, and it does some pretty serious damage, but if he's not able to reflect, or just maybe doesn't know he can, I want to be able to make sure that he can heal himself, and that I can heal him if needed. Though, let's be real though, Protection warriors are just like goated at the moment. After a quick little 2 chests, we gained 29 score. Before the week's end, I want to do one final key. I wanted to see if I can get something done that's a little more challenging. We found ourselves back in Vortex Pinnacle. Level 13, in fact. Some of these earlier pulls actually blast. Between bolts and dots. Oh, see ya. Sorry, Shaman guy. Use Astral Shift next time. Also, that was an insane wombo combo. A rush into like a double bolt within like 0.5 seconds. Shortly after this, I was banished and I couldn't save for Priest. Rip. See ya. If you get hit by an orb, you're bad. Oh, jeez. Bad. 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 Oh, I'm bad too. Trying to get mana in these dungeons is becoming like a little mini game. Some tanks wait a little too often, and some tanks don't wait at all. I actually really enjoy these dragons. They're like a nice little healer problem. Not bad. 75k HPS. Finally, a tank that pulls the boss to the center. Bless up. Having bubble for those sticky situations is super nice. And no one important died. The rest of the run was fairly textbook. Let's go. Dude, that felt actually pretty good to heal. All right, so I'm extremely happy with how this went. We ended up getting plenty of 8s through 13s across my fortified board, and I'm hoping that next week we can start slamming some larger tyrannical keys. My vault is also fairly loaded, so I guess we'll see. Tomorrow is just a short 10 hours away, and I can't wait to show off my